I was raised in what I believe to be the quintessential American family. My name is Helen Anderson. Even though my parents and I didn't have much money when we initially moved into our small starter house, we were content there. Among all the men I've known, my dad, James Anderson, worked more than anyone else. From humble beginnings with only 2 vehicles, he painstakingly expanded his transportation company into a thriving enterprise. During the beginning, he insisted on doing all of the truck maintenance himself, and I remembered that Dad would occasionally return home drenched in grease. In her younger years, Mom, whose name is Sarah, though I rarely address her by that name these days, was a manager at a restaurant. Even though she was often griping about her job, she was actually pretty competent at it. She would tell James, "I want to be a proper housewife one day," as she pushed food around her plate during supper. I am dreading all these late hours. In order to reassure her that she would soon be able to stop, her dad would simply pat her hand and smile. Plus, he delivered on his word. My dad's business took off when I was 9 years old. We were out of this gorgeous 2-story house in one of the best neighborhoods in town in no time at all after he secured multiple large contracts. I had a spacious and light-filled room all to myself, with windows that overlooked our backyard. The decor was my wildest fantasy. Walls painted a pastel purple, string lights shone everywhere, and a gigantic bookshelf that Dad had made himself. He worked on it all weekend, whispering curse words when he thought I wasn't listening, but then bursting with pride when he finished. Following our move, Mom finally did what she had always desired and left her job. However, contrary to her stated intention, she was rarely home to tend to the house. Lunch with the girls, just a quick shopping trip, or my salon appointment ran late were the usual excuses. Despite his busy schedule with his business, my dad always made time for me, so I guess he didn't mind. He would listen attentively as I recounted my experiences at school and with my friends, treating them as if they were the most vital matters in the universe, and every Sunday we would go out for ice cream. It was right before my 11th birthday that we last had ice cream. On this sunny spring day, my dad was filling me in on the news that one of his drivers had called in sick. "I suppose I'll have to go for a run tomorrow by myself," he remarked, pleating his cone. "The same as before. Would you let me tag along?" With anticipation building for a road trip with Dad, I inquired. He fluffed my hair while laughing. "Not at this moment, my lady. This is merely an overnight excursion. You won't even notice when I return." That night, before I went to sleep, I embraced him even more tightly than usual. I spoke those words to my dad, "Love you, Dad," without realizing it would be my final goodbye. He departed before the sun came up the following day. Our nanny Maria prepared him coffee and packed his lunch as Mom was still asleep. He backed out of the driveway, and I could hear him start up his vehicle. My father and I had our final face-to-face encounter at that point. At 3:47 in the morning, the phone rang. The fact that I was wide awake and unable to fall asleep because of an odd sensation in my stomach proves it. From her bedroom, I could hear Mom screaming, and then I heard something crack, most likely her nightstand light. Maria cradled me close as my mother paced restlessly, spoke on the phone, and the hours that followed are a haze in my memory. We were visited by police officers in our living room. Dark butterflies swooped over me while words like "died instantly" and "massive collision" swam about. The lorry that jackknifed its way across the highway was involved in an accident with Dad's truck. As if it would somehow ameliorate the situation, they asserted that he did not endure pain. However, it remained unchanged. There was no way to restore my father's memory. To be honest, I don't remember much of the funeral. It was hard for me to believe that Dad was within the closed coffin when I stared at it. Mom really went all out, crying, and even threw herself over the coffin at one point. At 11 years old, I believed it was the only way adults dealt with loss. Now that I'm older, I see how dramatic it all was. Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia were initially introduced to me at the funeral. Uncle Robert possessed Dad's eyes, the same kind with crinkly corners that appeared when he attempted to smile at me while crying, despite their seeming lack of familiarity with one another. "Helen," he muttered as he knelt down to my height, "my father was your paternal uncle. I'm really sorry this is how we're meeting." "I don't know why we haven't met before," I asked, being as forthright as any child can be. His features were cast into shade. "There was an argument between your dad and me a long time ago. Nevertheless, at this moment, it makes no difference. My little brother needed me to come and say farewell." Like morning dew, Mom's sorrow vanished after the funeral. In a matter of weeks, she had met with Dad's solicitors, assumed leadership of his company, and seemed to be an expert in transportation business management. Concepts like restructuring and modernization began to slip her lips, but it was clear that she was merely winging it. When my mom would return from posh places with her bags full of expensive items, Maria would saddeningly shake her head, and I would spend most of my time with her. As I was packing my lunch one day, Maria mumbled something about how my mom spends money like water. "Those drivers haven't received their due pay for weeks." She had a point. Employees of Dad's began to resign one by one. They were long-term employees, some of whom had been with him from the start. Their faces, names, and the tiny gifts they would bring me from their journeys were all etched in my memory. After making empty promises and lame reasons, they finally decided to go, leaving their families hungry. After Dad passed away 6 months ago, Mom sold off his business for a fraction of its original value. She pretended to have made a wise financial choice, but in reality, she had destroyed Dad's life's work. I spent a lot of time with Maria as Mom was always gone when Dad's business was sold. Because she thought it might be useful down the road, she began teaching me Spanish. It was preferable than returning home to a bare house, so I made good use of my after-school library time. Late at night, Mom would swoop in, occasionally with the scent of champagne, and hardly notice that I was there. "Oh, you're very much alive," she would remark, as if taken aback to see me at my own residence. After that, she would go back to her room, and I wouldn't have any further contact with her until the following night, if that. Following that Sunday night came. My mom came bursting in the door, laughing like a teenager as I was in the kitchen doing my homework. There were others. "Helen, my darling," she said, her voice brimming with an air of artificial excitement, "join me in meeting Richard." Despite his height, Richard sported an expensive suit that gave off an air of cheapness. When he stared directly at me, not even a grin could reach his eyes. "Helen," Mom said, her grip on Richard's arm, reassuring him. "Last weekend, Richard and I tied the knot. You have a new father figure. Once again, we will behave like a normal family." There was a proper family for me already. "I already have a father," I whispered, my voice quivering. A false grin faded from Richard's face. "Listen up, young lady," he remarked with an air of seriousness. "My mother and I have just tied the knot. You should just take it in stride and be respectful. You're not the father I knew." Retching ensued. "There's no way you can ever be my dad. Can you grasp my point?" Richard addressed Mom. "Discipline is necessary for a challenging youngster." It was only the beginning, though, when Richard moved in. His 12-year-old niece Madison, his sister Janet, and mother Gloria had all moved in within a week as well. They rearranged furniture and changed the design that Mom and Dad had chosen together, like an invasion force taking over the house. Mom seems unconcerned. After spending countless hours together shopping and chatting, she and Janet quickly became best friends. Before Mom fired Maria, Gloria seized control of the kitchen and made numerous complaints about her food. In that house, I met my sole remaining caretaker. The last strike followed. Upon my return from school one day, I saw Madison in my room, the one that Dad had constructed, along with the bookcase he had fashioned, the walls painted purple, and the fairy lights. Asking, "What are you up to?" That was my requirement. Could have this room, Aunt Sarah remarked. Madison replied with a mischievous grin. I require more space for all my belongings, and this room is larger than the guest room. Then leave. My voice erupted into a stomp. The room belongs to me. Not anymore, she mocked, hurling my books from their shelf. According to your mom, you're relocating to the cozy room down the hall. My mind went blank. In a flurry of limbs and arms, Madison and I both fell after my lunge. She swatted at my face as I tugged at her hair, and we both screamed. We were separated as Richard and Mom sprinted in. Call out to Helen? Mom, she yelled. You are very bold. Immediately, proceed to your new room. Oh no, look at my room. The gift came from my dad. Richard firmly grasped my arm. Your father is dead, he said with a scowl. You will obey my every command because this is my house now. For 2 days, they confined me to the tiny guest room, allowing me just to go out for school and toilet breaks. As I turned the corner, I saw my books and belongings arranged in boxes. The rubbish included Dad's bookshelves. As if nothing were amiss, I could make out Mom and Janet downstairs laughing and Madison's music playing in my old room through the wall. Some weeks subsequent to the occurrence in the room, I was making my way to the loo in the middle of the night when I perceived noises coming from downstairs. Keeping hidden in the shadows, I skulked to the top of the stairs. The girl is getting more challenging by the day, Richard remarked. Our family's tranquility is being disturbed by her. Would you think about getting her a new place to live? My pulse plummeted. A different house? Adoption? You ask. My blood froze at how thoughtful Mom sounded when she asked. It might be possible, Janet said. To be honest, she doesn't belong here anymore, and Madison is terrified of her because of that attack. After that, I sprinted back to my room where I hid my head in my pillow and convinced myself they weren't being serious. Never would my mom sell me, not at all. Convincing myself that it was all just small talk, I ignored the topic for the time being. My 13th birthday came 2 months after that. Since my father passed away, we had not celebrated my birthdays, so I wasn't anticipating anything. Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia surprised me by showing up at the door. As he embraced me tightly, Uncle Robert wished me a happy birthday, Helen. Richard strode past us, and his pupils constricted as he paid us no mind. Mom likely felt ashamed that Dad's brother could judge her, so she hurriedly put together dinner. The knife-edge tension surrounding the table was palpable. After that, Mom coughed. In fact, Robert and Patricia, I'm delighted to have you here. I have some business to take care of. I felt my gut knot up because of her tone. While avoiding eye contact with me, Mom went on to say, Helen isn't happy here, and frankly, we're not happy either. With our new family dynamic, she doesn't belong. It has been my decision to place her for adoption. Like a punch in the stomach, the words landed on me. It turned out that the discussion I had overheard wasn't mere idle chatter. I was thinking you might want to take her since you and Patricia don't have any children of your own, Mom said, her voice as casual as if she were talking about the weather. In that case, I will begin seeking out other families. Chaos ensued as the room whirled about. I was gasping for air. I was being given away by her on my birthday, the day I was born. Uncle Robert's chair slid back so forcefully that it toppled over. He roared, We'll take her, his rage visible on his crimson face. Sarah, I have never seen a more repulsive mother than you. Would you dare? Richard got to his feet, but a glance at Uncle Robert sent him tumbling back into his seat. Patricia, I need your help packing Helen's belongings, Uncle Robert stated with a kinder tone. Right now we're going. As I trembled, Aunt Patricia took hold of my shoulders and escorted me upstairs. My clothes and the few belongings I had left were tossed into bags as we hurriedly packed. I could barely see because I was crying so hard. My darling, everything will be all right. Aunt Patricia whispered repeatedly, We're on top of you now. I didn't even bother to look back at Mom when I left that house. She made no effort to wave me off or even say goodbye. As soon as Uncle Robert rolled down the window of the automobile, Madison's voice asked if she might use my room as well. At first, the change seemed challenging. There were times when I would be temporarily disoriented upon waking up in my new room at Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia's residence. However, the scent of Aunt Patricia's cooking would entice me back to my true home, where the aroma of bacon and coffee wafted up from the kitchen. Rapid action was taken in the adoption process. Without hesitation, Mom signed away her rights, which was painful at the moment, but felt like a godsend in the end. The legal transformation of Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia into Mom and Dad solidified my deepest feelings about them. Uncle Robert informed Helen over breakfast one morning, "We registered you at Riverside Prep. We hope you'll enjoy it here more than your previous school." That place was nice. When I was no longer burdened by the stresses of my previous family life, I began to excel academically. Both my former and current educators and parents took note. They were present at every single parent-teacher conference, academic awards ceremony, and school performance. Upon my enrollment in the debate club, they patiently endured each competition, their expressions of pride evident even in my defeats. They pushed me to broaden my horizons by enrolling me in piano lessons, scientific camps over the summer, and animal shelter volunteer work. They were there to back it all, both monetarily and emotionally. Over time, the numbness of my mother's rejection gave way to the comforting assurance of being genuinely loved. I ceased to consider her, to ponder whether she ever considered me. The joy and abundance of my new existence had made the past hurts irrelevant. At my high school graduation, not only did Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia yell loudest for me, but their entire extended family cheered as well. They had taken me in as one of their own. During my graduation meal, Aunt Patricia said, "We have something to tell you. Your college fund has been in the works since the day you moved in with us." They had saved up enough to pay for my tuition at any school I wanted. I intend to study investment management at State University's business school. It was amazing at college. With the goal of bringing them great joy, I dove headfirst into my studies. Aunt Patricia casually brought up the fact that she had encountered my biological mother at the supermarket while I was an intern at Goldman Sachs in my sophomore year. "She has a son now," Aunt Patricia observed with discernment, observing my reaction. "Richard's family still has them in your father's old house." Surprisingly, I felt nothing more than mild curiosity, so I simply nodded. Now that it was happening to someone else, that life felt like a faraway dream. I was hired by Morgan Stanley after finishing college. My eyes popped when I saw my starting pay. I never in a million years thought I'd be making that much money straight out of college. I skipped lunch and headed straight to the jewelry store the day I received my first paycheck. Aunt Patricia had her sights set on a certain pearl necklace displayed in a nearby store window, while Uncle Robert had been donning the same old watch for years. Aunt Patricia began to cry as I presented her with her gifts, and Uncle Robert's fingers trembled as he placed on his brand new watch. "Your money was better spent elsewhere," he pleaded feebly. What else could I buy with that money? As I embraced them both, I inquired, "You've been my parents. You're the driving force behind this whole thing." It was only 6 years ago. I worked my way up the corporate ladder at Morgan Stanley after finishing college, eventually leading a staff of my own. I no longer hesitated to call my parents Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia, which made every achievement seem even better because I could tell them about it. First, there was the apartment, a lovely 2-bedroom condo in a desirable area of town. Mom helped me decorate it, and Dad insisted on checking all the paperwork before I signed the mortgage. Then I met Michael. A year of dating, and he proposed during a weekend trip to the beach. I said yes before he even finished asking the question. Mom cried when we told them, and Dad pulled Michael into a bear hug. "Welcome to the family, son," he said. his voice gruff with emotion. We threw ourselves into wedding planning. Mom and I spent weekends looking at venues and tasting cakes, while Dad and Michael bonded over budget spreadsheets and vendor contracts. Then the message arrived on Facebook. "Helen, sweetheart, I've heard about your upcoming wedding. I know it's been a long time, but I'm still your mother. I've changed, and I want to make things right. Please let me be part of your special day. I miss you so much." My hand shook as I read the message. I immediately called Mom. "I saw Sarah yesterday," Mom said quietly when I told her about the message. "At the grocery store. She didn't ask about you. Not once. But when I mentioned how successful you've become, how you're getting married, well, her eyes lit up in a way I didn't like." Mom hesitated before continuing. "There's more. That niece of her husband's, Madison, she got pregnant, married some deadbeat, and moved back into the house with her husband. The whole family is constantly fighting. Sarah was complaining about money problems rather loudly in the middle of the store. I felt a cold knot form in my stomach. So that's why she reached out. She needs money." I stared at the message for a long time before responding. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as memories flooded back. The room she gave away, the birthday she threw me away, the years of silence when she had every opportunity to reach out, but didn't. Finally, I typed, "Sarah, let me be clear. You are not my mother. You lost that right when you gave me away on my 13th birthday. I have parents who love me unconditionally, something you never managed to do. I don't want you at my wedding. I don't want you in my life. Don't contact me again." I hit send, then immediately blocked her. My hands were steady now, my mind clear. I felt lighter somehow, as if I'd finally put down a weight I didn't know I was carrying. The morning of my wedding dawned perfect and clear. Michael's parents had rented the Mason Creek estate for the ceremony, a beautiful historic property with sprawling gardens and a restored Victorian mansion. I was in the bridal suite with Mom, putting the finishing touches on my makeup when there was a knock at the door. Miss Anderson, one of the security guards, looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's a situation at the front gate. There are some people insisting they know you, a man, a woman, and a teenage boy." My stomach dropped. Somehow I knew exactly who it was. "I'll handle this," I said, standing up carefully in my wedding dress. "Helen, you don't have to." Mom started, but I shook my head. "Yes, I do. Once and for all." I walked to the front gates, my wedding heels clicking against the cobblestone path. And there they were, Sarah, Richard, and a boy who must have been my half-brother, though he looked exactly like Madison. "Helen," Sarah screamed when she saw me, grabbing the iron bars of the gate. "How dare you not invite your own mother to your wedding? Let us in immediately." I took a moment to really look at her. She aged poorly. Her designer clothes were obviously last season's, her makeup too heavy, her hair desperately in need of a touch-up. Richard looked thinner, more haggard, the expensive suit replaced by something off the rack. "Richard should be the one walking you down the aisle," Sarah continued, her voice shrill. "He's your father." That made me laugh, a genuine, hearty laugh that echoed across the courtyard. "My father? The man who locked me in a room for 2 days? The man who helped you throw away your own daughter? We're family." Sarah's voice cracked. "You can't just pretend we don't exist. Look at how you're living. This fancy wedding, your big job, your expensive clothes. Meanwhile, we can barely make ends meet. We're drowning in debt, and you're here playing princess." Ah, there it was. The real reason for this dramatic scene. "I'm not playing at anything," I said coldly. "I worked for everything I have, and let's be clear, you're not my family. You gave up that right years ago. My parents are inside that house. They're the ones who raised me, supported me, loved me unconditionally. You need our help." Sarah was practically foaming at the mouth now. "After everything we did for you." Everything you did for me?" I cut her off. "You mean throwing me away like garbage? Taking away my room, my home, my childhood. That's what you did for me." I turned to the security guards. "These people are strangers who are trespassing. Please remove them from the property. They are not welcome here." "You can't do this," Sarah screamed as the guards moved forward. "I'm your mother." "No," I said firmly. "You're just the woman who gave birth to me. There's a difference." I turned my back on her continued screams and walked away, my head held high. When I returned to the bridal suite, Mom was waiting with a worried expression. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" I took a deep breath and smiled. "You know what? I've never been better. That chapter of my life is finally completely closed." There was a knock at the door, and Dad poked his head in. "Ready, princess." I looked in the mirror one last time, adjusting my veil. The terrified 13-year-old kid wasn't the same lady staring back at me. I was powerful, accomplished, and loved, really loved. As I took Dad's arm, I declared, "I'm ready." As we made our way to the outside ceremony, the wedding march started playing. Michael, who was visibly moved, was standing at the altar, looking down at me with a tear in his eye. As Dad led me down the aisle, all of our guests rose to their feet and turned to observe. This was the right choice. The man who gave me my driver's license, assisted me with my college applications, and demonstrated the true meaning of a father's love was the one proposing to me. The ceremony was absolutely right. Under a clear blue sky with the affection of our loved ones by our sides, Michael and I exchanged our vows in a beautiful garden. Our guests went wild with cheers as he kissed me as my husband for the first time. The party continued late into the night. My dad made everyone laugh with anecdotes from my undergraduate days after giving a moving speech that made everyone cry. As I danced with Dad, I couldn't help but smile as Mom danced with Michael. Those 6 months had passed. After Michael and I returned from our honeymoon in Greece, we found a delightful new normal in life. If someone were to ask me about my biological parents, I would honestly say that they are the ones who selected me, loved me, and helped mold me into who I am now. After the wedding, I couldn't care less about Sarah and her family's fate. Their decision to sell Dad's old house was heard through the grapevine, but I no longer care about that. My life has moved on from that phase. I didn't experience abandonment or betrayal in my journey. It's about connecting with the people that love you genuinely, not out of obligation, but affection. The message is to prioritize joy above sadness, to let go of grudges rather than hold on to them, and to keep moving ahead rather than dwelling on the past. I am overjoyed with how things worked out. My name is now Helen Anderson Mitchell. There is a man who loves me with all his heart and wakes up beside me every morning. Also, I still get to eat Sunday supper with my parents, who choose me and have never let me go.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm 28 years old and the proud owner of Glam and Grace, one of the most successful salons in the Highland District. Building this from scratch after beauty school wasn't easy, but I made it happen. Sweetie, your father and I are just so proud of what you've accomplished here. It's practically a family business now. That's Jessica, my stepmom. She loves to act like she had anything to do with my success. She married my dad, Tom, when I was 16, and ever since, she's tried to run everyone's life like it's her personal reality show. Actually, Jessica, I built this place entirely on my own. No family money involved. Oh, darling, don't be so sensitive. She replies with a dismissive wave. I'm just trying to help you network. Maria here is very well connected. Maria, Jessica's best friend, offers me a fake socialite smile while sitting under the dryer during her weekly blowout. Jessica tells me you're doing so well, Maria says, her voice dripping with condescension. We must bring the whole country club crowd in here. Sandra, my salon manager and right-hand woman since day one, steps in smoothly. The appointment book is pretty full these days. Full for family? That's ridiculous, says Jessica's son, Rick, barging into the conversation. Mom, tell her she's being difficult. Nobody's getting special treatment, Rick, not even family, I say firmly. This isn't how family behaves. Jessica snaps, her voice loud enough for all my clients to hear. After everything your father and I have done for you. What exactly have you done, Jessica? I ask, my voice cold. Besides show up expecting free services and dragging your friends along for the same. Jessica's face flushes. Well, I never. And that's the problem, I cut in. You never consider that this is my business, not your personal salon. I worked hard for this. Jessica stiffens. Your father will hear about this attitude. I was just trying to help you build connections, she huffs. Maria was going to recommend you to her charity committee friends, for free services, of course. It's called marketing, darling. But clearly, you're too inexperienced to understand how things work in our circle. My circle is doing just fine, I reply. Sandra, please make sure everyone knows our friends and family discount policy. 10% off, just like any other loyal customer. Jessica grabs her designer purse, her face a storm cloud. Come on, Maria, we'll go to Claude's salon instead. They know how to treat elite clientele. Have fun paying triple for half the quality, Sandra calls after them as they storm out. Peter, my boyfriend, comes over and wraps an arm around me. You handled that perfectly, he says. Don't let them guilt you into giving away your hard work. Looking around at my bustling salon, I know he's right. I built this place on quality and fairness, not social climbing or freebies. If Jessica and her entourage can't respect that, they can take their entitled attitudes elsewhere. But Jessica isn't done. A few days later, she struts into the salon with 6 of her friends, all decked out in designer outfits and dripping entitlement. Ladies, the Peninsula Charity Ball starts in 4 hours, she announces dramatically. We need the works. Hair, makeup, nails, for everyone. Did you make appointments? I ask, already suspecting the answer. Oh please, Jessica scoffs. We don't need appointments. We're family. The salon is fully booked today, I reply, my voice steady. I have loyal, paying clients scheduled. Well, unschedule them, she snaps. This is the biggest social event of the season, and I've already told everyone my stepdaughter would take care of us. That's not happening, I say firmly. You can't just walk in and demand 7 full services worth over $2,000, especially for free. Jessica's face darkens. $2,000 for family? You ungrateful little. Keep your voice down, I warn. My prices are clearly posted. After a dramatic gasp from Maria, Jessica starts ranting. After everything we've done for you, can you believe this? My own stepdaughter charging me full price for a charity event. Maria chimes in. Honestly, it's shocking how money changes people. Remember when she was just a scholarship student at beauty school? Get out, all of you, now. You're nothing but a greedy little gold digger, just like your mother, Jessica hisses. And that's when Rick storms in, knocking over a product display. Mom says you're disrespecting our family again, he yells, pulling out his phone and snapping photos of clients. Let's see how your business does when everyone knows how you treat people. Sandra steps between us. Sir, you need to leave before I call security. Security? For family? Rick sneers. Later that evening, Peter shows me something on his laptop. Babe, look at this, he says grimly. Jessica's been taking out loans using your salon as collateral. She convinced your dad the money was for expansions. She can't do that, I stammer. Dad would never. She forged documents, Peter says. And there's more. She's been spreading stories about you stealing clients from other salons. My phone buzzes with a text from Sandra. Rick's been harassing clients as they leave. 3 cancellations today. Then I see Maria's social media post. Sad when success reveals someone's true colors. Some people forget their humble beginnings and the family that supported them. #ungrateful, #greed. I feel my blood boil. Jessica isn't just after free services anymore. She's trying to destroy everything I've built. This ends now, I tell Peter, pulling out my phone to call my father. It's time he knew exactly what his wife is doing with his money and my business. Peter nods. Want me to send the loan documents to your lawyer? Yes, I say, and Peter, thank you for always having my back. Always, babe. Nobody messes with my girl's dream and gets away with it. As I dial, I glance out the window and spot Rick loitering outside, still taking photos. This isn't just about entitlement anymore. It's about protecting what I've worked so hard to build from people who think they can destroy it. "We're not going to believe this," Peter says, sliding his laptop toward me. "Jessica's been involved in 3 failed spas before she married your dad. Each time she convinced investors to pour money in, then disappeared when things went south." "Wait, show me the dates," I say, leaning in. He scrolls down. "The last spa shut down just 2 months before she met your father." My stomach churns as I process his words. And Peter says, clicking to another screen, she was facing lawsuits from all 3 businesses. Then, suddenly, she meets a wealthy businessman, your dad, and all her legal troubles vanish. Before I can respond, Sandra bursts into my office, holding her phone. "Boss, you need to see this." The video shows Rick outside my salon at 3 a.m., spray painting FRAG across the front windows and slashing the delivery van's tires. "That Lil," I choke on my anger. "It gets worse," Sandra says. "Dozens of clients are showing up for appointments they never made. Someone hacked our booking system." "Let me guess," I say bitterly, "all during our busiest hours." Sandra nods grimly. "The fake confirmations look legit. Jessica's trying to make us look incompetent." Before I can respond, my phone rings. "Miss Thompson," says a stern voice. "This is the city inspector. We've received multiple complaints about health code violations at your salon." "What?" I exclaim. "That's impossible. We just passed inspection last month." "Nevertheless, we'll need to conduct an emergency inspection tomorrow," he replies. I hang up seething. Jessica isn't just sabotaging my business, she's escalating her attacks. Peter interrupts my thoughts. "Babe, check this out." He turns his screen toward me, revealing a video chat with a woman. "My name's Linda," she says. "Jessica was my business partner. She destroyed my life." "What happened?" I ask. "She convinced me to invest my retirement fund into a spa," Linda explains, her voice trembling. "Then she vanished with everything. When I tried to sue, all the paperwork disappeared." Peter pulls up another screen. "And it gets worse. I've been digging through your dad's company records. Look at these transfers." My heart sinks as I scan the document. "Jessica's been moving company money through shell accounts for years," Peter explains. "The total's close to $500,000. And look here, your dad's signature is forged on all of them." I barely have time to process this before my phone buzzes with another message. It's from Maria's daughter. "Hey Jennifer, Mom doesn't know I'm texting you, but you should see what Jessica says about you in their group chat." Screenshots flood my phone. Jessica's messages detail a coordinated attack, fake reviews, bogus complaints, and plans to harass my clients. But that's not all. She's openly bragging about how she's handling my father's money. Peter looks up from his laptop, his jaw set. Jessica's not just a manipulative stepmom. She's a con artist. "She's been playing us all," I murmur, staring at the mountain of evidence. Sandra texts me again. Security footage shows Rick trying to break into the back office. Cops are on their way. Looking at the chaos Jessica and her accomplices have unleashed. Fraudulent businesses, embezzlement, forged signatures, and relentless harassment. I finally see the full picture. "She thought she could destroy everything I've built," I say, my voice steady with determination. "But she didn't count on me fighting back." Peter nods. "Your dad needs to see all of this." "He will," I say, steeling myself. "But first, we're talking to those other business owners she scammed. How many have you found?" "7 so far," Peter replies, "and they're all ready to help take her down." Before I can respond, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a post from Maria's daughter. "OMG, Mom's charity is totally fake. Can't believe Jessica's been pocketing donations for years. Hashtag exposing fraud, hashtag champagne charity scam. Attached are receipts, proof of Jessica's lies." I watch in real time as the post spreads like wildfire. Within hours, the country club crowd is in chaos, and my phone won't stop buzzing. "Did you see? They just arrested Rick." Sandra bursts into my office, breathless. Turns out he had outstanding warrants for assault. They caught him vandalizing the salon. "Karma's finally catching up," Peter says, walking in and holding up his phone. "Check Twitter. Jessica's old business partners are going viral with their stories. 7 different fraud cases. She's toast." The door slams open and my father storms into the salon, his face red with anger. Where is she? Where is Jessica? Dad, I saw the evidence, Jennifer. The embezzlement, the forged signatures, the loans against your salon. How long have you known? We just put it all together. I'm so sorry, Dad. Don't apologize, he says, shaking his head. I'm the one who brought her into our lives. But no more. I've already called my lawyer. I want a divorce. The door chimes, and in walks Maria, looking uncharacteristically nervous. Jennifer, I need to apologize, she says quietly. I had no idea Jessica was stealing from the charity committee. We've all been such fools. My phone lights up with notifications, dozens of 5-star reviews pouring in from real clients defending us against Jessica's fake ones. News outlets are asking for interviews about Jessica's charity scam, Sandra says, grinning. Oh, and your new location permits just got approved. Turns out the city inspector was one of Jessica's friends. Peter adds, she's under investigation now too. 2 weeks later, I'm checking the construction progress at my second salon when Sandra calls. Jessica's here, she says, and she looks rough. I step outside to find Jessica waiting by my car. The designer clothes and perfect makeup are gone, replaced with discount store attire and dark circles under her eyes. Jennifer, please, she says, her voice trembling. Everyone's abandoned me. The country club revoked my membership. Tom froze all the accounts. I have nothing left. That's not my problem, I say, crossing my arms. I was wrong, okay. I admit it. I'll tell everyone the truth. Just help me. We're family. No, Jessica, I reply, my voice cold. We're not. We never were. You tried to destroy everything I built. I can change, she pleads. I'll make it up to you. Walking past her to my car, I hear her sobbing. Please, I'm sorry. I don't even turn around. 6 months later, I'm cutting the ribbon at my second location. Peter, now my fiancé, cheers from the front row. Dad's healing and dating a kind woman who actually earned her success. Look at this, Sandra says, showing me her phone. It's an article about Jessica's bankruptcy filing. She's living in a studio apartment, working as a telemarketer. Rick is serving time for multiple charges. Maria and her daughter approach me beaming. Your new place is gorgeous, Jennifer, Maria says. Would you consider being our official stylist for the Real Charity Gala? Full price, of course. Send your event coordinator over, I say, smiling. We'll work something out. Later that night, Peter holds me close. I'm so proud of you, babe. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Looking around at my expanding business, my real friends, and my stronger-than-ever family, I realize something. Toxic people sometimes do you a favor by showing their true colors. They think they're destroying you, but they're really setting you free. I heard Jessica's living off grocery store box die these days. Karma really is a stylist with a perfect memory for those who deserve a make-under. What would you do if someone close to you, a person you trusted, turned out to be sabotaging your success? Would you expose them immediately or gather evidence quietly like I did? Share your thoughts in the comments below.